Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Today we're discussing Lodging Industry 2017. My guest is Mark Woodworth. He's Senior Managing Director, Head of Lodging Research with CBRE Hotels. And Mark, let's talk about what you expect moving forward. One of the things that's concerning people in real estate of all types, but let's talk about hotels today, is the impact of rising interest rates on cap rates moving forward. What do you expect?
Well, the expectation there, and I have the benefit of one of your former guests, Jack Cordial, my colleague, recently did put together a paper that was published in one of the journals, and where he took a long-term analysis of the impact of rising interest rates on hotel cap rates. The short of it is, what Jack determined is for every 100 basis point lift in interest rates, historically we've seen about a 25, 28 basis point increase in hotel cap rates. So as we've seen since the election, 10-year treasuries have gone up, I think 65 to 85 basis points. A lot of the prognosticators that do interest rate forecasting, have that going up maybe another 20, 25% over the next 4 to 8 quarters. So a lot of it seems to have already occurred, but cap rates will be going up. But again, I think the fundamentals of the lodging industry are so favorable in the vast majority of markets that investors are looking at what for the first time in my career I characterize as a very durable income stream.
Yeah.
Okay, there's not a lot of threats to the profitability. There's one that maybe we want to get to in a minute, but overall, the top line should be good going forward. The expenses, there are some issues there, but overall, profitability should remain attractive. And as an investment vehicle, hotels should continue to be very, very good.
Yeah, so that's pretty strong. So that's roughly 25%. So if an interest rate went up 100 basis points, then your cap rates are only changing by
this won't be far off, but if the hypothetical average hotel cap rate was 8% last year, it would suggest, well, maybe that moves up to 8.25%, solely because of holding everything else constant. What's going on interest rates.
So then the question becomes, well, what do we expect moving forward for income, right? So what are you guys projecting for 2017 performance?
Another good year from a RevPAR perspective. It's going to be right at the long run average level, just right around 3, maybe a little bit higher. That's going to be almost all room rate driven, i.e. occupancies are not expected to go up. Okay. So basically, I'm getting more revenue without having to sell more units, which in essence, in and of itself, makes that more of that incremental revenue is going to flow right through the bottom line.
Right.
One of the concerns we have, and I think you can argue it's perhaps the greatest concern today, is the largest single cost category in running a hotel is labor and related expenses. We've seen very significant increases year over year for the last 2 years in that one category. I say significant. The average hotel, it's 43, 45% of all expenses needed to open your doors are labor and related. So we've seen significant increases that, interesting enough, the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of it has been not so much the salary and wages, but it's the benefit side. Last year was the first time that we've seen really the salary and wages grow more year over year than did the benefits component. Okay. So there's been a lot of pressure on the biggest single cost category in running a hotel. Lots of questions. I'm sure it doesn't matter what property type you're in, but what's going to happen with immigration policies going forward? Mm-hmm. That's particularly important to our industry because historically leisure and hospitality has been a large employer of lower skilled labor. Mm-hmm. And there's been so much pressure on that, meaning the supply of labor in that category continues to shrink. So immigration historically has been a good source of new labor to fill these jobs and so forth.
How about the increase in the minimum wage? Might that impact hospitality moving forward?
Absolutely, and it's already begun in the markets that have experienced that. And it's impacting it two ways. There's no question, the cost of the labor has gone up, okay? But on the overall basis, you talk to managers that have to deal with that every day and running their hotel or opening their restaurants and so forth. They will very quickly say, one of the first things I'm doing is trying to figure out how can I get by with fewer employees.
Yeah.
That's how I cover that incremental cost.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I think that's the opposite of people raising the minimum wage but that's what's ended up.
As a practical matter, I mean, unless you can pass that incremental expense on to your customer in the form of a price increase, you're going to have to absorb it.
Yeah.
And we're just not, in many markets today, the pricing power isn't quite strong enough to absorb that.
Yeah. So we're talking with Mark Woodworth about the lodging industry moving forward. So Mark, you get the opportunity to talk to large groups in the hospitality industry all the time. How do industry participants feel about the economy and the hotel industry moving forward?
It's I guess possibly the obvious. Depends who you're talking to, where you're talking to, and is it a Friday or a Monday kind of thing. But overall, there's a sense of what I would characterize as being optimistic about the future. That was true prior to November 8th of last year, and it remains true today. I was just up in D.C. earlier this week talking with some folks, and clearly there was a huge unknown we now know the answer to, and that is who's going to be our next president. Right. Now the unknowns are what are the policies going to be, and will they in fact be implemented, and so forth. But if you look at, I think yesterday there was a very positive report on small businesses and so forth. The level of optimism that we're seeing out there is very meaningful. And if history repeats itself, we would expect that optimism will in fact lead to whether it's on the consumer or the corporate side, people saying, look, I feel better about investing in travel or having a meeting or having a conference, or let me send an extra salesperson to that event and so forth. Right. And obviously that ultimately rolls up in, I got to rent more hotel rooms. Right. And spend more in restaurants and so forth. So, we're very cautious about it. But one of the ways I like to answer that question, Michael, is that if our forecasts for 2017 aren't 100% accurate, and I think we're pretty good, but we don't often hit it right on the nose. It may be that we look back a year from today and say, we kind of underestimated things, and that could be a little bit better than what we were thinking. Well,
what's the quick answer to this, Mark? It seems like if you look at the stock market and the rally we've had there since President-elect Trump was announced, you would think that a reduction in corporate taxes might be the easiest thing for him to do. And if you look at the stock market, then maybe people think that's really going to happen. Does the hotel industry think that's going to happen, and how might that impact hotels? More money, right?
Yeah, it's more money for consumers. Basically, it's going from government coffers into either corporate coffers or individual coffers. Again, there's no reason to believe that some of that won't find its way inside the four walls of a hotel. And part of it is that we're talking about, it's not a small change. What we're hearing about they're considering doing, whether it's the repatriation of funds, bringing them back home, or just again on the corporate income tax side and personal side, it could be significant amount of resources that, again, some of it's going to find its way into the lodging industry.
Yeah, I mean, think about my own company. I own a small company, Bull Realty, based in Atlanta, and if our taxes go down, well, we could spend more for travel. We are looking at 2017 travel now, and we're trying to make a decision. So Trump, get in there, reduce it, so we can all travel more.
There you go.
Well, stay tuned. We're going to have more on the lodging industry with Mark Woodworth, and there's a lot of other things that may impact lodging industry moving forward. Stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out creshow.com.